We are in the loft, the widower's loft. The pigeons are already separated at the moment, they have reared the best after the young. This is how the pigeons will be molting, so that they do not bother with the cell, that they do not fight, that there is just as much peace as possible. They only have to replace the feathers at the moment. These saddles will be fitted until the time when the pigeons are paired. Certainly, when we move, after flushing, young pigeons, there will be no unnecessary clashes. Sometimes it is possible to break some motor feathers like this. There is great peace, nobody competes. Pigeons have one goal now: to fluff, rest, rebuild their muscles. And this is our new team. Probably also 1-year-old pigeons will come here. Our rec will transfer a few males. Have you already moved? Not. I will only bring them back when they finish the feather exchange, so as not to disturb them. So the team will definitely be rejuvenated. There is room for about 90 pigeons. At the moment we have 130 to 70 old and 60 young pigeons left after the flights. We will also have to reduce it all, rejuvenate, and for sure choose a team and approach the next season with new hopes. I think it's already a normal season that we will start everything as planned. A lot of growers ask about this matter: what are you doing there after this molting season? Well, we've more or less said what's going on. And there was also such a question about deworming. Listen. If you do deworms, we rely on the resources of Dr. Maciek Dabkowicz. If deworming is a very good remedy for one day and these pigeons are fine, then surely the deworming will not do anything wrong in molting. But if these pigeons were not well rebuilt, prepared for the season, and they are now, I don't know, the molting is difficult at all, because they are not completely healthy, their immunity has dropped. And you get dewormed, it can actually lead to some blemishes on the feathers. There is never such a history with us, because we have not seen worms for a long time. This is Maciek's merit. He takes care of our health here in this loft. Also, deworming does not interfere with molting. You see, there is already a young one here to be shifted to the aviators, so we take care of these pigeons so that they have everything and that it looks somehow. You're still asking what we're doing. About some magical stuff. Hard selection is a magic thing. For example, now it goes to me, I don't know, 4 to 5 lovebirds that have 50 to 60 competitions. And we could play such pigeons for another season or two, but we have to strengthen ourselves on every front. And it is known that youth has its rights. If we want to base on some sprint, we just need these 5 to 6 years old pigeons. They will not be faster. You have to withdraw them and just play with the youth we have, and these are the youth brought up by our best pilots. And this is a great reinforcement of breeding. An example of what Maciek says is the withdrawal of the daughter of Zlata Rybka this year. Zlata Rybka was a former sprinter. She is a sprinter, because she is at Maciek's breeding loft, and her daughter also flew well as an annual, as a 2-year-old, Category A flights. But as a 4-year-old and 5-year-old female she was unbeatable. At least on this loft on 500 kilometers and marathon flights. And she had 2 singles per ward. Yes, she had 2 singles last year. And, in general, raised from sprint pigeons. In the 4th, 5th, and 6th years, she flew flights perfectly, that is, she flew the entire season. But the best 500 kilometers plus flights. She has already retired this year as a 6-year-old dove. I think that we can still bring up something nice from it. You also need to know when these pigeons should be withdrawn in order to get the most out of them on the racing loft, but also to make them useful for breeding purposes. Because when we withdraw a female, who is 7, 8 years old, we won't breed too much from her. And on our breeding we also rely on pigeons that we breed, i.e. the best aces, and return to the connections with the parents. Then we cross these pigeons, and therefore you need to know at what point such a pigeon should be designated for breeding. Of course, we are losing on flight, but we are gaining in breeding. And this brings good results in the long run. Definitely better than we would chew these pigeons for 2 more years on airplanes. Our youth is really phenomenal, and in general, what do we pay attention to? We have been working on the appearance of a pigeon for many years. This pigeon has to be put together, he has to have a cage, he has to be tied. And what else here? Because there are questions. If I did not use our X supplementation, and I want to play in Poland at low coefficients, then this pigeon is going to the corpse, then I have to rebuild it. If I didn't rebuild it well once, another time, then in the next season I am a pigeon, where it simply flies, razor sharp, I would have nothing more. Because this corset would be pitted, there would be a lot of micro injuries. This muscle now, look at you, I showed you a pigeon that really fell off the mast completely. And they have everything here. They have the best food, the best supplementation. And now answer the question whether I have the same in the loft. Because if you do not have the best feed in your loft, that you are giving supplements, then this pigeon's muscle will be plowed. So yeah, we are losing a lot of fast pigeons simply. We kill speed in them, we kill the muscle. This muscle is already being improved on our loft. These structures have improved significantly. What is this month about? Well, this is another way to take advantage of yourself. Because we know that muscle glycogen builds up, that muscle glycogen is just being deposited in the muscles. If I create a fighter who has more of this muscle, I don't know, 10 to 15% than the competition, then this fighter can save 10 to 15% more muscle glycogen, which he then uses to fight. So it has 10 to 15% more than the competition and is able to squeeze in the last meters and win these leading competitions. This is also some way of improving breeding results. And if you saw, the pigeons look different. At the beginning of the season we have some youngsters there and they look great at the beginning of the season. Some great, some worse, and at the end of the season, if this season was tough and different overall, one pigeon silhouette remains. The wing will not stay long, we will not be left with, I don't know, a pigeon with a bad build, but usually these pigeons are very similar. Well, and such selective flights for these pigeons are flights, especially against the wind, with a side wind, with the opposite wind. There, a pigeon with defects in its structure bursts. When it comes to wind flights, it is known that these shortcomings are covered because the long wing will do a good competition. Long forearm, here I am talking about a forearm that does not work well. And in our case, this structure, in my breeding farm, has been improved for many years and it can be seen. Our pigeon in 2020 won the standard in Poland. And we do not select pigeons for the standard. Only for usability and for a typical sports result. This selection does not sound in this direction either, but in the sporting direction. Well, if those pigeons that are athletes also look good standard, then we are happy. It is information that we are going in the right direction. For a breeder, there is nothing better than a pigeon that flies superbly and is also pretty. And we haven't said anything about Adam yet, but Adam Kopytko, we are working with these pigeons. We bred the sister of L. Kopytko from Spin. 2018's best aviator, right? Yes. The same female is the grandmother of the 14th Polish aviator in the F category in 2019. Was it like that? It is so, and here is the curiosity. Maybe it's a bit ironic, but I have to say about it, because in 2018 we had pigeons that had been raised earlier on the young loft, they naturally plied there, they flew great, it was just a dozen or so first to the branch. And, among other things, there was a pigeon 123, the name of which comes from the fact that it was the first for the branch, the second for the branch and the third for the branch. and the second for the division and the third for the division was because he entered the loft behind our pigeons as second, and in the last flight as third. And of course, we had no influence on it.